objective analysis to the issues, and of course make a meaning towards nation development. That is what we do on the show. It's a full house today, and I think we have a lot of interesting things to talk about. There was a by-election yesterday in 26 states, 17 federal and 28 state constituencies. And I think it was an interesting one. A lot of Nigerians, would I say, were not disappointed. As expected, the things happened again. So, but I think generally it was a success. Some winners have been announced. Postponements have also been announced, and we are going to bring that to the roundtable this evening. By-elections, violence, logistics problems, voter apathy, vote buying, characterize polls again. And so the question we're going to ask ourselves on that is, how and when will we get it right with our elections in Nigeria? We had the general elections last year, we had some by-elections, and now we had some off-season elections. Now we had by-elections, and it's still the same old story. The same story of violence, voter apathy, vote buying, voter suppression, ballot box snatching, voter intimidation, and even cancellation of polls. We even got reports that in some areas results were already written, and all of that. So the same sad story that we're used to, we seem to have gotten used to with our elections, came up again in this by-election. And it's important that we ask ourselves this evening on Political Roundtable, when exactly are we going to get it right with our elections? That will be the first issue, but I'm going to crave the indulgence of my analysts. We're not going to spend too much time on that because it's something we've always talked about. But there's a bigger fish to fry this evening. Nuruddin, Joseph Folorunso, Barrister Curtis Adigba will be joining us via the phone line. Okay, let me just bring my analyst into the show, so I now talk about the second issue, the big masquerade in the room. Good evening, Barrister Curtis Adigba.
Good evening. How now?
Yeah, it's nice to have you on the show this evening, and it's nice to have you back in the country.
Thank you, my brother.
It's a pleasure, and of course we appreciate your commitment to the show.
Thank you so much.
All right, we have Nuruddin Adegbero in the studio. Good evening, Nuruddin.
Good evening, and good evening, our listeners.
I knew you were on a Tommy yesterday. You had a show, and so you were not really monitoring the elections in the field.
Yes.
But we had our guys in the field, and they already sent in their reports. We look at some of those reports when we start to talk about what happened, especially in Lagos here. But you said, follow on show. Good evening. How are you doing?
Well, good evening, Fuhad. Good evening, Lagos. Good evening, Nigeria.
All right. So, like I said, we look at the by-elections. I don't think any of our analysts will be disappointed by the turn of events or what eventually happened with the by-elections. INEC eventually has had to halt voting in Kano, Enugu, Akwa Ibom, Plateau over disruption, the violence in some places. Police arrest some offenders for vote buying. There was also low turnout in Lagos. Opeyemi Akinade, Eric Lemibe were both in the field in Surulere covering the elections for us, and while they were in the field, the reports we got from them was that, look, there was serious voter apathy. Opeyemi said it was probably the most frustrating election he has ever covered, really, because he saw people with their PVCs. They were showing people their PVCs and they refused to vote. That was the level of apathy, amongst electorates as far as this by-election is concerned. And so there was issue of voter apathy in Enugu, Bayelsa, Kaduna, Sokoto states, and again, like I said, 26 states, 17 federal and 28 state constituencies in 80 local government areas of the country. But it was just completely poor according to across the states. And so we'll look at it again. We'll look at INEC's performance, because again there was the issue of logistics again, and materials arriving late, officials trying to also manipulate the process. In some polling units, they said results are already been written. A lot that we've known with our electoral process, the negatives again rearing its ugly head in the conduct of the by-election. So we just ask ourselves on the roundtable this evening, when and how will we get it right with our elections in Nigeria? But like I said, we're not going to spend too much time on that. We're just going to quickly touch on that because, again, we'll probably just be talking about how to reform the process and get better with our future elections. Remember, we still have 2 off-cycle elections coming up this year in Edo State and Ondo State. So, but the bigger fish to fry is the issue of insecurity in Nigeria. I think in the last 2 or 3 weeks, they talk. There's hardly any time you open the papers without a story of someone being kidnapped somewhere, someone being killed somewhere, families raising money for ransom, and a whole lot of things concerning how bad the security situation of the country is at this time. I think there's a little bit of a good story today. The children kidnapped, the school children kidnapped in Ekiti State have been released. Yes. You know, I always say that we need to be clear whether it is a release or a rescue, because if it is a release, it's different from a rescue. But the information we have is that they've been released as early as
ransomed.
Oh, well, for release. That's why I said we need to know whether it's a release or a rescue. If it's a release, it came with a ransom. But if it's a rescue, well, our security operatives did their job. But whether it's a release or a ransom, the good news is that, look, these children are now, at least as early as 2 a.m. in the midnight, the news filtered in.
And the driver was killed.
Yeah, the driver was killed, unfortunately. 8 were rescued, but the driver of that bus was killed. As at 2 a.m., we got the news, and they said the police had not even confirmed the release. That's why we are saying that most likely this is just a release. So, but it is what it is. I think that's it means that we can be happy with these innocent children have now been released, and we cannot take it from there. So, yes, I'm with you, Mr. Curtis.
Well, unfortunately,
yes,
what we are hearing is just the tip of the ugly situation. Right now in the country, when people are kidnapped, they don't even bother to go to the police.
Yes.
They just begin to look for money to go and pay ransom. And so it's disheartening when you then hear the police spokesperson come on TV and say that those who are paying ransom are committing criminal offense. But what he's not telling Nigerians is what effort the force they belong to is making to rescue these people if they don't pay ransom. Right in Abuja there, when the family were in between, are they going to pay the ransom or they're not going to pay the ransom? Their family members were killed. You understand what I'm saying?
I'm with you. You said, sorry to cut him, Mr. Curtis. I have this headline, and it's today's in the Vanguard newspaper of today, to buttress what you are saying on ransom payment and the statement by the police force PRO condemning. Yes, look, kidnapping epidemic. Until I was kidnapped, I discouraged payment of ransom. You know who is saying that? Ejiofor, the ex-director of the DSS. It's in the Vanguard newspaper today by Mr. Curtis. That look, kidnapping epidemic. Until I was kidnapped, I discouraged payment of ransom, and that's coming from ex-director of the DSS.
I'm sure that when you were watching Nigeria and Angola,
yes,
you probably felt that you were a better player than those in the field.
Yes.
You know the way you shake when the ball is moving. And when a player who desires to score more goal, to score goal more than you, misses, we call them names. You understand?
Yes, but when you get to the field,
people can just sit on their chairs in their offices and politicate. When someone is pointing a gun at you, and another person is using a knife to cut part of your body, and your family members are hearing the jeering cry, is it not money? If they have to sell anything to bring that life back, they will do it. Now, if you see the way to discourage ransom, all right?
Yes.
I'm an avid watcher of FBI files, and every time there's a kidnap, all right, you see how the FBI treats the people. Now, they say Nigerians should go and register for name. We have registered. Now, the networks, the telecommunication networks, they have the ability to trace where phone calls are being made from. Do you understand? It is the police that is failing to secure the people. And when you can't secure the people, you cannot blame them for paying ransom. Because that's the only way that they can get out of the situation.
You see, Barrister Curtis, again, like I said, I had to bring in that report, you know, that captured what the ex-DSS Ejiofor director had said, that look, until he was also a victim, he had condemned the idea of ransom payment. You know, the same Pantami, if you remember, Malam Pantami, Isa Pantami, who made us go through the rigor of NIN, who talked about the fact that it was very important, and the main reason at that time was also part of this kidnapping, blah, 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 and all of that. Barrister Curtis was also part of raising 50 million naira to pay ransom recently.
I saw it, and I discussed with you privately, and I said, look, it's even more disturbing that a former minister who has access to this in government right now, and who can go and talk to them, came out openly to say he has somebody who has promised to give 50 million, and that what is left now is the additional 10 million. And I'm wondering, how did these people go about doing this thing?
All right, but I want us to structure this.
That's why we are the one looking for trouble. We're here, report of police officer being kidnapped. What did force escorter did? So if they can kidnap police with uniform, is it Castina? DPO were trying to resume before you get to the division. They kidnapped the police, and it was business as usual. So
what about bandits? Bandits raiding the defense academy?
Yes.
Okay.
All right, but we're going to get to the issue of insecurity. Like I said, that's the big, the big fish we are frying today on the show. It's a very big one. I really into the conversation on the problem of insecurity in the country. There's a lot of suggestion on the table, but I think there's this consensus now, from royal fathers to governors to even lawyers. Everybody now seems to be tilting towards the conversation around state police and a decentralization of the policing structure of the country. So that's the second issue, really. I want us to look at the pros and cons. What are the fears of Nigerians, or some Nigerians, about this issue of state police? I think we should not just dismiss those fears. We can look at those fears, dissect them, and see how we can work around those fears and ensure it doesn't become a problem. And then also look at the issue of state police and how it's going to help solve some of these insecurity challenges we are seeing in the country. So that's going to be the big issue we're looking at on the show this evening. State police is the way to go to tackle insecurity in Nigeria, say governors, legal giants, others. And so we're looking at the pros and cons of a decentralized policing structure. So that's the second issue, and it's going to be the issue we really spend so much time on. But Barrister Curtis, there was by-elections yesterday. Meanwhile, congratulations to my namesake, Fuhad Laguda, in Lagos here. Sulere constituency won as expected. He won with a very good margin, over 11,000 votes. Whatever, as expected. But I thought that, looked by-elections, maybe there would have been some lessons learned from the general elections and the off-season elections we had in 3 states recently. But the same story, Barrister Curtis: voter suppression, voter apathy, ballot snatching, violence, voter suppression, votes buying. The same thing reported, to the extent that some elections have now been postponed in some local governments, and then INEC is saying that by Monday they will sit to review some of these reports and then take a decision on when the elections will be conducted in those local. I think Plateau State, Kano, as those are trouble areas. So as expected, Enugu also had issues and all of that. But let's quickly touch on this, Barrister Curtis. Is it a lost battle? Can't we just have a decent election? What's the problem?
Okay, so in your prologue, you said, when are things going to change? Why can't we get things done properly, right?
Yes.
And my simple question to you is that, as a people, have we changed? Have we changed our ways? Have we stopped seeing election as a bazaar and access to government funding and importance and significance into society? When did we start seeing election as just an expression of a choice on who will lead or direct the affairs of the moment. Do you understand?
Yeah, with you.
When did we now start seeing government? So when have we stopped seeing government as the biggest business and enterprise in town? And this is the reason why people will do whatever it takes to win. So you have to blame us Nigerians too. The mindset and the attitude towards election. We don't see it as just a choice. We don't see it as people going out there to choose one person to say, we think that given what you have told us, we've looked at your background, okay, we've looked at your accomplishments in life, we looked at your values and character. We believe that you are the right person to lead at this moment. That's what the election is all about. It doesn't go beyond that. That people are saying that Fuhad, right?
Yes.
This environment that we are, Fuhad is the best person to represent us. We looked at him, we watched him over the years, we know his values, we know his family, we know his character, and we know his attitude. That's all. But you see, when government becomes the biggest enterprise or business in town, and the purpose and the aim of this contest is for people to go and join those in government and make money, then it becomes to do a die affair. You go down that you die while winning, you understand? Or you must be overpowered by the other person. So that's one side, and that is the attitude of the people, the mindset of us Nigerians. Now, the second side is that you have an organization responsible for conducting elections that is so corrupt and so inefficient and so incompetent. If INEC were to conduct elections in Mainland FM, amongst you, the three in the studio now,
no problem.
They will still fail.
Very wrong.
This is a really wrong.
Spoke last week. So the ambassador INEC, he said, look, I mean, I work in the same place. I know when someone is serious about doing something. He said, this IRF thing, up till now, INEC has not even explained to Nigerians what really happened. So, like you pointed out, you have an INEC that depends majorly on ad hoc staff to conduct their election, right?
Yes.
And these guys are easily up for sale. And when INEC, the body itself, should take steps, even when we find that the law setting up INEC and the law guiding its operation has invested the organization with power to take steps and cancel certain elections or disqualify certain, they won't do it. They'll just tell you go to court. Everything, go to court. So what then is the purpose of the body called INEC? And this is where, look, for me, and I've told people this, okay? I am not going to contest any election under this kind of INEC. And I also think that it's a waste of our little resources that we are doing this from time to time.
Because I'm getting the same bad result. Yeah.
We know the outcome, what is going to happen. And then when you talk about people not coming out, you understand?
In fact, some of them came out. According to our correspondents who were in the field, some people came out, they had their PVCs, they were even showing reporters, but said, I will not vote.
They are confused. They are a confused bunch.
That was
you know when I say they are confused bunch, if the people that you know are not making your life easier, or the people that are making things so difficult for you, right?
Yes.
You use your vote and punish them in the election. That's why you send messages.
What some of them are saying is that in the past they've made attempts to use their votes to punish those people, but how well does their vote count? That the votes don't count.
The thing that come out from their hands in the first place.
Maybe to make a statement, don't you think that we look? It's not as if we don't have what it takes to vote.
If they voted and their votes didn't count,
that would have been a better statement.
what then is a statement? Coming from the expecting themselves coming out in the sun and say they are not voting. I can understand how they feel. You know, we said some times ago that when you vote for people, you are voting for them to go and solve your problems. Right?
Yes.
But when they go there, when they become the problem that you need to solve. And this is why people are discouraged. People are saying to themselves, what is our own? And I think 2-3 days ago I was watching a video of a man who said he voted for the president. And said he regretted voting for him. That this is not what he thought the president was coming to do. And for those of you who are old enough in 1999, I keep telling people this. When the president became the governor of Lagos State, you know that he couldn't do anything for some time. I don't know if you remember.
Of course, yes.
In fact, everything all he kept saying was blaming Bugamara for everything that was not working in Lagos. Until Lagosians told him, we didn't hire you to go and complain about Marwa. Get on with the job or leave the job. And then it picked up speed.
I think it was also at that time that we started seeing signboards like, oh, sorry, this is a federal road. Everybody was different signboards.
You were old enough that time.
Say sorry, this is a federal road, please bear with us.
Bear with us.
For not
and everything was about Marwa. He didn't do this, he didn't do that. You understand what I'm saying? And I'm hoping that they can still pick up the pieces and gain speed. But you know my worry, and like I've always said to people, this is not the same man 25 years ago. He's lost some few steps. He doesn't have that charisma and energy that he used to have.
The energy, nobody can.
You understand what I'm saying? But you see, we will continue to wish him well. Because like I've always said in that studio, right? His success is our success.
Definitely.
His failure is our failure. Now that things are not going well, are we all not suffering it? I mean, I'm talking about we, not them. Because I know they are not suffering it.
No, we have to. We have them and we.
Have them and we.
We
know ourselves.
There are two political parties in Nigeria.
Yes, so.
The rich and the poor. You can call them whatever name you want to call them.
The reality of the rich is different from that of the poor. All right, thank you so much, Mr. Curtis. Yes, again, I just want us to really touch on these elections issues. In Lagos here, which is the closest to us, Fuhad Laguda obtained a total votes of 11,203. Defeat his closest opponent, Jerry Afamike of the PDP, who scored 278 votes. Look at the margin. How
many registered voters in that place?
Well, the entire voters, the entire votes cast was 11,043. And
no, I mean the total registered voters.
I don't have the figure here. I really don't have the figure here. I'm looking at
that. Will tell you, usually off-cycle elections do not attract so much attention.
Exactly.
And, especially for a place like I think Sulere too, where that is the seat of the current
the chief of staff. Yes, he's actually leaving the state to someone.
The man who has provided solar for almost everybody in that constituency.
Okay, so you're saying that. So you are saying that it was expected that Fuhad Laguda was going to take that one?
Of course. I mean, it would have been a shock if he lost it. And don't forget that Fuhad is a personal friend. I know his political journey. I know how many times they had attempted to challenge Desmond Elliott. And the Brigadier told him to step down. Do you understand? The party. I knew when he became the world chairman and then later the chairman of that constituency. Do you understand?
Yes.
So he's been coming for a long time and it's on ground. So I don't see anybody. The only thing that could have happened is that if you had a strong candidate, right?
Yes.
Who can have bet the pains of the people and say, let's use this and send a message to the government. It could have been an offset. But it would have been difficult.
Okay. All right.
All
right. So to answer your question, my producer just gave it to me now. The number of registered voters in that constituency, 21,586 registered voters, and so about half of them came out to vote.
11,000 is over 50%. So the turnout is still fair.
Okay. All right. Well,
because our national average is not even up to 50%.
Okay. Well, congratulations to Fuhad Lagoda, right? No, no surprises, right? You know, except for INEC meeting tomorrow. I think it's always the pattern now. When there's an election, some are concluded, some are suspended. A meeting is held, emergency meeting is held to review what happened, and then another date is. It's not very difficult for INEC to conclude elections on the same day. Why is it so difficult? We're just talking about how many positions here.
Now our politicians have now becoming so wise. You remember that Senator Omishore won the election from prison? You remember?
Well, that was one of the absurdities of the Nigerian politics we're talking about.
At that particular time, if we said INEC was not up to the task at that particular time, then now that both all the candidates are not in captivity,
they are available.
They are available, and you see a situation in a particular polling unit that before the election, as at 7 a.m., the result of that polling unit
was already available.
The reason why it's going to be very difficult for INEC, the politicians have not changed, just like Vice Sakoti said. So if in psychology, what psychologists research on is consistent behavior. It's consistent behavior. If our politicians still have the same behavior of want to win by all
means, any way,
intimidation and everything, then we are going to be getting these results. Then if you now have the kind of politicians like that, what it means is that even when they get to power, don't expect anything from them. Then the angle of the INEC, you remember one of the focal area that I always talked about is the ad hoc staff. Fuhad, I can tell you,
because INEC relies on them to conduct the elections.
With the kind of ad hoc staff, let me tell you how the ad hoc staff is being raised.
How they get them?
How they get them is in 3 ways. 1, INEC will tell you that he opens the portal. Everybody should come or go to that particular LGA, the INEC office IGA,
to go and register as an ad hoc staff. That
one is foul. I will tell you the reason. What they do is this: INEC will now call the stakeholders.
Who are the stakeholders? The politicians.
The politicians, okay. The traditional rulers,
religious
rulers. If they have anybody, all of them let come and apply. They will now give it like a slot
to them.
So if the chairman of a particular LGA in the party have it, he will now call all those their own party members that are young. He will now
get their names, put their names together,
their number, or mobilize them to go and register. Now tell me, all those people, they will finance them to go to their various whether they will make sure their names come out. If their name now comes out before the election, they will now do what we call symposium for them.
Training.
Yes. Their own training within the party.
They are supposed to be ad hoc staff, independent.
Yes. INEC will do his own. That for those people, this is how you are going to do. After INEC has finished his own,
so the sponsors will now do their own.
They will now do their own. In fact, they normally do it the second day. INEC will do their own.
Maybe to debrief them.
They will not tell them, look, we appointed you because you are.
Don't listen to those people.
Don't listen to them.
This is how we do it.
Apart from the money INEC, maybe INEC is going to give 5,000 naira. There is 30,000 naira for you.
Example.
Then no, it's not example. I'm telling you the real thing now. They are collecting money from the party even more than the INEC. How much is INEC paying?
We are talking about ad hoc staff.
I'm talking about ad hoc staff. So they will now say, okay, what is going to happen is this: before you go today, they will share food at that particular place, and they will give them cash of 20,000 naira. That is what happened ahead of this general election, and it's a fact. After that, they will now tell them, they've told them everything. They will even tell them signals. That is why it is possible for somebody to come and vote 2-3 times, even with what you said is going to reader, is going to whatever, he will just look at it, he will come again, he will go to the land and go again. Is he not the one that will?
That's how people divert beavers,
that is how they bypass whatever. Then another thing again that is so certain that they normally do is this: the resource sheets. Don't forget that it's going to be with the ad hoc staff and they will tell the NYC guy, oh boy,
the polling
come, you know we are son of the soil. Immediately they even come to that particular polling unit, they will be giving they will just be charging the come. They ask you to come and serve in this country, in this state too. So you better be careful. That one now say, in this place they are very, very tough. That one will now all his power.
No. I was in the field during the general elections, and I saw how intimidated some of the NYSC ad hoc staff were. You know, the way some of these locals were breathing down their neck, you know, intimidating them, harassing them. So you just find NYSC guys who, let me just do my job and leave these guys to do whatever they want to do. But you said, for sure, Nuruddin has said it all. You know, INEC, the behavior of our politicians. But again, we're also talking about the people here who have refused to come out to vote. Is it that they are completely frustrated about the process, or is just the fact that, look, Nigerians don't really see the value really going out there to vote to elect leaders?
Oga Fuhad, I think for people to come and vote, one, they're supposed to have psychological, emotional, physical protection. Now, if you look at what happened, I think we have a conversation before the Sulere something elections. Well, it's as if we envisage what may likely happen.
Yeah.
Now, you say people should come and vote. You equally know that just like what Oga Nuruddin is saying, the security agencies that are going there, sometimes they are equally selected. And they'll be brief.
But apart from
the security, because I have a lot of friends that went to that, so you'll be brief.
And the brief too.
So you don't brief is if you do the other way, mean if there's any other election within and outside, you have to go to the office. You understand? So now you want me to go and vote. I am going there. Maybe something unusual is happening to me. I'm seeing a uniform person.
That is
supposed to maybe I'm looking. Okay, this man will come and
rescue me.
But I see that the person is looking the other way.
Why the other thing is
happening to me? Then, if I'm able to escape from that very place,
another election,
I will face the mirror and advise myself. And okay. So the issue is, you know, for why we have been saying it here. When someone is pretending to be sleeping, it will take the mercy of God for you to wake that person up. Nigeria INEC is just pretending to be sleeping, and it's going to take the mercy of God for you to be able to wake them. Just look at it. Just within Sulere, it will be a way of showing to Nigeria that INEC, we are extremely ready. Now they say they cancel some of the election in Enugu, Kano, and the reason is what? They say there is how do you call it?
Record sheet.
But I is not even looking at the issue of emotional discouragement from people, mental, and because there are some people that someone that carry PVC, you're showing it mean that emotionally telling you that I'm not part of this. INEC is not looking at the issue from that angle. So it means that we need to sit down and look for a way to recruit people in INEC. And again, and I want to work in INEC. Maybe by our coaching we have. I want to work in INEC.
You are looking for a job in INEC.
Yeah, I want to, because the reason I'm looking for that job is INEC is an organization that will do exam by itself. It will mark the script, score itself, pay allowance, register everything, and I will blame you for you to and say okay
for their own failure.
Yes, and say okay, if you know you don't go to court. All right. So I think it is that kind of organization
is the best place to work.
The best place to work. But for INEC to move forward, I want to see a situation by either the Senate will look at it. Anybody, any of the INEC official who make effort to look the other way in an election, who help in rigging an election, should be regarded as maybe a coup. We court martial such an individual so that if the election is coming, someone say, no, I don't want to.
Because
the way my conscience is, I don't want to be part of it. I'm used to changing the figure from one place to the other.
You listen to Joseph. He said he wants an INEC job because that's the question.
You he will get one tomorrow.
He wants you to help because he said that's the only organization that would set exam, mark the script, score itself, pay itself, and then blame the students for failing the exam and then go to court.
And even go to court. And then could go to court.
And even go to court and defend the leaked paper. But on a serious note now, before we move to the second issue, which I consider more important than this particular one we're talking about. Now, in your closing statement, Mr. Curtis, you said that, look, you don't even want to be a part of this INEC conducted elections, that you can never be a part of it. But in recent time, you've been listening to our politicians, and especially those of them in the opposition. And what I've consistently heard from them is the issue of coalition against 2027. Atiku Abubakar has been in and out of the coalition talk. I think Rabiu Kwankwanso, the NNPP, the Labour Party, once in a while, have also talked about a possible coalition or no coalition. And I think to them, their focus is more of getting the numbers together, getting a balance of political strength than electoral reforms. Do you think the opposition has its focus right, or it's just the way our politicians think?
No, I think that this whole idea of coalition is as a result of helplessness. They've looked up to the system, thinking that the system will work fairly for everyone. Didn't work. Don't forget that in 2015, the only reason why some political parties came up to form APC was because they believed that the PDP was running roughshod over everybody, and that the PDP had INEC in its pocket, you know. You remember when they were telling us they were going to be power for 60 years?
60 years.
Whether Nigerians like it or not, you know. And so that was why they had to come together to form the coalition and then name this APC. You understand? So I think that Atiku, Rabiu and so on are just listing a page from the playbook of APC. That perhaps if we come together, right, and we can gather more crowd and all that, we may be able to hold INEC to some serious level of account. That even because don't forget that in 2015, you know, before we got to the election of 2015, you remember INEC was involved in some dance with the ruling party then. You know, at some point they wanted to postpone the election, they even postponed the election, you know. And then the opposition stood together and they were able to take power away from the ruling party. Now, the then ruling party is now in the position that the people in power now were. Yes. Now, but one other thing we must also learn from the Nigerian politicians is that he sees the election as a lottery. He wins this way, he loses INEC.
He loses and then he starts to blame INEC.
He has to blame INEC next year. The same way, you know, when they go to the court and they win, then the court becomes the last hope of the common man.
When they lose in court, the court is compromised.
If they lose in court, it becomes compromised. So we must also isolate that attitude of politicians. But one other issue that is very concerning to me as a person, and I think to a lot of Nigerians, is the role that security agents play in our election. First and foremost, I think Nigeria is one of the few countries in the world now that on election day, people are forced to stay at home. People can't go about their businesses, you know, because of this expectation that the election will be marred by violence and all that, and all that the movement of people around will mark the election in the sense that ballot papers or ballot boxes or people who are not registered to vote in that area will come and vote. But if INEC, of course, is sure of what they are doing, they can prevent that from happening. INEC cannot control ballot snatching. You understand? That has got to be the function of the police. But you don't have the situation where law enforcement agents are sometimes in cohort playing with the ruling party. Depending on, and I'm not talking at the national level, because this has happened state by state. You remember in 2007 when Obasanjo declared the election a do-or-die affair. You know, I think before then, the late former Superior of Police, Papa Balogun, had this farm somewhere in a state that they call the Jeep farm, where any governor who wanted to be returned or who wanted to win an election will go there and make contribution or some SUV and all that. And then the police will be giving clear instruction on what to do. You remember the second time coming of our power in Ekiti?
In Ekiti, yes.
How the military were also involved.
And we saw we got leaked audios, we got all manner of leaked information on, yes.
Those who were involved later came to do my copper. And please, you understand?
Yeah, with you.
So I don't know when we are going to get to that level where people can just go out and cast their votes without the police hovering over their necks. Because the police, as we have seen, don't provide any security for our election. Look at during the last election. Did you go to any polling booth and see a policeman with a gun? Police that will be at checkpoint, dealing with civilians carrying AK-47. We go for election that they know could be violent, and all they are carrying is nothing.
And a lot of them were not the way while the violence was going on.
Look at it, what I'm saying. And then you know that even, look, the public will be told we have deployed 18,000 policemen to one particular area, right? But when you go to the police stations, you just see one tired looking policeman. What case scenario 2?
What was the police
People went to vote in the last election. I'm not talking of the one of yesterday. And policemen were dead. Talks prevented them from voting. If you are not voting for a particular party and candidate, you will not vote here.
We saw that in the general elections. We were in the field.
So, what did the police do?
A lot of them looked
I don't understand the purpose of. So I don't understand the purpose of deploying these people. Look at the last in governorship election. Was the policeman not arrested snatching ballot box?
Being beaten like
beaten like all right.
What has happened to him?
All right, Barrister Curtis, like I said, I really just wanted us to touch.
But a quick one. This coalition would have worked. What is wrong, assuming this Surulere election, you see Atiku going there to campaign, or Peter will be going there because how do you start 100 without one? You can say the election is just a constituency.
But you can make a statement.
But you can make a statement. You go there and if Atiku is there campaigning for the candidate of PDP, from house to house, Peter Obi is there.
Let me tell you something. I think what you are suggesting is that they could have made a point with that election.
Yes.
But you see, you must also appreciate the fact that in politics, right, you try to go to where you play very strongly. You don't want to spend the political capital that you have unnecessarily
on something that you know may not result to anything.
You know that it will be difficult for the PDP or any other political party to win that election.
I go to Surulere a lot, and every other candidate was dwarfed completely.
Yes,
it was all about APC, you know.
Because you see, again, you have to know the people that are living in that area.
Yes,
you understand, because that election is not about Fuhad alone.
Yes,
was about Bajabe Amila
statements.
That was the Bajabe Amila election.
And it was on ground. It was available. Yes.
It was on ground. So there's no way. It's difficult. Look, there are some constituencies all over the world. They call them bellwether constituencies.
You just leave it.
That you will not win.
Well, even if a Peter Obi had slept there in that constituency, I doubt if he would have been able to.
Especially the candidate is so deeply flawed that the people themselves are saying to the party, we don't want the candidate, and they insisted. Then they come out and vote. Otherwise,
all right, it's still Political Roundtable, Mainland 98.3 FM. My name is Saheed Fuhad. We have Barrister Curtis Adigbo on the phone line. We have Nurdin Adigbo in the studio, and Joseph Folorunsho. We've looked at the by-election that happened yesterday. The usual shenanigans that we've seen with our elections in recent time: voter apathy, vote buying, voter intimidation, harassment, and postponement of elections, as usual. You know, I think the world is going to end in court on this particular. They'll go to court on this one.
Without talk, they arrested the Kano, Shams, and
all of that. But Barrister Curtis Adigbo, I started the show by saying that we have a little bit of a good news that the school children abducted in Ekiti have all been released. but the driver of that bus lost his life. You know, there are really no details as to why the kidnappers killed the driver. But again, at least we can work with that little news of the fact that these innocent children have all now been released. But since the events of Plateau State, the Abuja situation, Benue, in fact, today in Katsina State, I think some people going to a wedding.
In fact, all the bread train, whatever.
The entire people going to a wedding, about 70 of them, were all abducted.
Yes. On a lighter note,
yes.
let me remind you, people, on a lighter note, and I hope people will understand what I'm about to say. When the president as candidate went to Chatham House in London, he was asked a question by a journalist. How do you intend to tackle security? No, how do you intend to tackle insecurity? And he said, Nato Rufa will answer that. I hope you remember that time.
Yes, now.
The same Nato Rufa is not in government.
It's not in government.
And I told somebody today that the reason why this thing is happening is because Nato is missing in action. Because he was the one that the president said
to answer the question of insecurity.
And now it's not about the government. So, how are you going to solve the security problem?
Maybe he has dropped the notes for
Shetima before the election.
Shetima said he was going to be in charge of
security. So maybe he has dropped the jotter.
Shetima did not say he will be in charge of security because he felt Nerufai has the solution to it. He says that look, he was the former governor of Borno State and he think of it all. He knows how to.
But you see that short video of the same vice president in Kanu that give narration of what happened to one of his friend.
Yes.
Who they break the whisk
and he told him that
so and he's now shouting that they need to
between El Rufai and even Kashim Shettima, the vice president, these were two people as governors that were not able to tackle insecurity in their two states.
Even within their government, outside when they left security.
But again, I don't want us to lose track of what we really want to talk about here, Barrister Curtis. Now, the state governor seems to have a unanimous voice. There's a consensus amongst them, whether the PDP, the Labour Party, or even the APC. There's now the talk of us having state police, and we're already seeing governors acting in that direction. Zamfara, Ogun State is training a group of young people to help with security, to help tackling security in their state. Everybody seems to now be okay. We'll try and get Barrister Curtis, but I think the line is off. We'll try and reconnect with him, but that's the talk. That's what we have now. Everybody is on this conversation of state police and what have you. And again, like I said, governors across party lines and legal giants, even lawyers, top lawyers. One of them I'm going to try and highlight. That's a statement from Wole Olanipekun SAN. Very, very important that we talk about what he said about this issue of the structure of policing in the country. But like I said, I think you are now Barrister Curtis.
Yes, I'm back.
Okay, yeah. So what I'm saying is that look, governors are all unanimous in what they are saying. Everybody's talking about state police now. The PDP governors had met. Malam Mohammed, who is the chairman of the PDP Governors Forum, has said that look, it does have to be state police. A lot of them, even Sheyi Makinde in Oyo State, the governor of Plateau State, Caleb Mufwang, Benue has also introduced something. We saw the governor of Zamfara training over 2,000 men, also in some form of camouflage, talking tough. So I think there seems to be that consensus that look, it is now time for us to decentralize our policing structure. And it's not the politicians or the governors that are saying this. Barrister Curtis, Wole Olanipekun SAN is also saying the same thing. In fact, during the week he said that look, he had talked about restructuring the country with the former president Chief Olusegun Obasanjo as far back as around 2001, and that the former president almost beat him up for daring to tell him to restructure the country. But let's get what Mr. Wole Olanipekun SAN said. Chief Wole Olanipekun SAN said, delivering the 40th convocation lecture of the Olabisi Onabanjo University in Agowo, Ogun State. I want us to pay attention to what he said. He said, look, How do we have a federal government with federating states where the governors do not have any jurisdiction or power over the security systems or apparatus in their states, yet a governor is casually labeled as the chief security officer of the state? He does not appoint the commissioner of police in his state. All he hears is the deployment of a commissioner of police to his state. He has no say even in the deployment. We should stop deceiving ourselves by sending police commissioners from any state in the north to the southwest or the southeast or vice versa, when such police commissioners have never been to such places before or have any idea or knowledge of that language or dialect of the people. It called for restructuring and devolution of more powers to the state, and you know, it's also supported by Olisa Agbakoba SAN, Mr. Wahab Shitu SAN. All of them, you know, seems to, and in fact, Wole Olanipeku at that particular event also said the constitution of Nigeria is fake. He said it's fake. That look, we are not operating a document of the people, and that look, everything in that document, and that if they say why are lawyers using a fake document, say look, that's it, we operate the law as it is, not as it ought to be. You know, so
please tell Chief Olanipeku, tell him to speak to the president who is his client.
but let's I really want us to go. Well,
let me tell you something.
This is an open forum where he said this.
This whole idea about state police is not a new thing in Nigeria. I hope you know that during the colonial times,
yes,
we had native police.
Yes.
Which was like local government police there.
Yes.
Now, it was much later that after the amalgamation of the South and Northern Protectorate,
yes,
that in 1930 there was a move towards consolidation of the police at regional levels. And then it was not until the First Republic that what you have as Nigerian police was actually established. Now, when you go to the 1999 Constitution, Section 214, it specifically said that a police force, to be known as Nigerian Police Force, shall be established for the country. And besides that, there will be no other police force. That's where the problem is. The fact that the Constitution has created one national organ as a police force and says there shall be no other police force other than that is where the problem is. And you know what the solution is? It's an amendment to that constitution.
Yes.
Who are the people capable of doing the amendment? It is the National Assembly, members of the National Assembly. Members of the National Assembly themselves are proxies of these powerful governors.
In the Ninth Assembly, the attempt to do it failed.
Let me tell you something. Not only that, there have been several attempts to grant local government autonomy so that they can get their funds directly.
And that's always
even the state houses of assembly that also grant them their independence. But governors will move them to reject independence of themselves. So if all these governors you mentioned, right,
yes,
are talking about state police, they should get their representatives at the National Assembly to amend this constitution. And then they should move the state houses of assembly to third to support the amendment. And we have the problem solved. At least at the moment, you understand?
yes.
Now, the reason why this is important, and you know, when Olanipeku said he told former President Obasanjo about state police, and the man wanted to almost beat him up. The man was talking about restructuring the country, and he went to Aso Rock and saw the power of the president. I told you, people will mouth this thing. You know, it was just last week that I was jokingly saying the agitation for state policing has died down now. Nobody's talking about this anymore.
Sorry to cut in, Barrister Curtis, and this is very important to what you're saying now. In 2009, the AC in 2009,
Action Congress,
the publicity secretary of the AC at that time, Mr. Joe Igbokwe, had issued a statement calling for state police. And that time the suggestion was that look, they can even use Lagos
as a template
to test run it in Lagos. That look, the insecurity in this country at that time had gotten to a point where it was important for them to have state police. That was the AC, and then Mr. Joe Ibukwe was the publicity secretary at that time. The AC metamorphosed into the ACN and now APC. Why are we not getting that same energy from the opponent of state police at that time? What has changed?
Don't forget also that in 2019, the APC set up a committee headed by Nasir El-Rufai.
Yes.
And they also recommended state police.
And we didn't see anything.
White paper.
Nothing has happened. And I can tell you, see, all this present call for state policing or state police now is as a result of the insecurity going around. Once this situation is contained a little bit and there's a level of stability, they will all forget about it. Until there's another problem or it becomes a tool for another campaign. But the way countries make progress is that when you have a problem, when you identify a problem, you solve it. Now, as when you're introducing the topic, right? They talk about the pros and cons.
And cons, yes.
Yes, there are pros. Now, the major pros is that if you atomize the security units, right, you are talking about the situation where the policemen that you recruit are from the vicinity, they know the people in that area. They know when a strange character enters the place. Even as I'm talking to you, the police people know all the thieves and the criminals in all communities where they are based. Just that they don't have what it takes to go after all of them. Now, so that's one. That because they are used to these people, right? And they know them, they probably will have to provide more adequate security in the area. Now, the second thing will be that it will create a kind of employment for people in that area in a way and manner that the National Police Force cannot do, you know. And the third point is that there will be quicker response. Just a few days ago, my daughter heard in the night that somebody was shouting around our house there, you know. And she picked her phone and called 911. And in an instant, police vehicles came around from different corners. We had police teams that came from the state, from the local government, and then from the township. And they just patrol around. And when they didn't say anything,
they left.
They phoned her back to say they thought it was a force. The forces were the one crying in the night. Not human beings. You get the point that
the response, the response and the coordination,
the quick response. And that's why for most houses here, you don't have burglary proof.
There's even no fence.
Yes, because when you call them, they're going to show up and show up with maximum force. But then part of the cons that people have talked about is that the state police will be abused by politicians. That they will use the police instrument at the local level against their opponents. That is nothing new. Are they not using the national police against their opponents? Because when people say that governors are lame when it comes to policing and all that, yes, it is only when a higher influence is involved that governors do not control commissioners of police in their state. I hope you know that.
I'm with you.
They can use the commissioners of police in their state against their political opponents. They do their bidding. It is when there is a higher authority involved
that they can do that.
Because the language of the Constitution says that the governor of a state may instruct or command or give order to the commissioner of police in the state, right? But the commissioner of police in the state will have to seek permission from the IG or the minister in charge of police affairs. So you see, now a is there anything that says to you that if there is an infraction or a criminal activity going on in Lagos State here, right? Governor Sanwo-Olu cannot call the commissioner of police and ask him to mobilize men there?
Why not? He can.
Okay. But you know what happened to the same Governor Sanwo-Olu when a higher interest was involved?
Yeah, it was serious embarrassment in Magodo here, where the police officer was telling him, I can't
I didn't take order from you.
I can't take order from you. Call my guys in Abuja.
So exactly. That's what, and then you see a solution to the abuses of policemen. Because look, there is no system that starts with perfection. All systems will have problems, and over time we keep solving the problems.
Yeah.
And until you get to the level where it's comfortable. You understand what I'm saying?
Yes.
So if we question the court, the judiciary, that can call state governors to order, like those who are in charge of state police, if they want to use them against, because you see the way to secure the state police first and foremost is to ensure that you don't tie them to the front string of the governors. Do you know that in a place like the United States,
yes,
that even some sheriffs, the sheriffs themselves, that's the chief sheriffs, actually contest election to elected by the people. They are not appointed by the governor. So they can move against the governor and against the governor's family if there is a need to do that. So it's important that we grant them independence when you set them up, right? If you want a professional body, you don't have to cut the influence of the political leaders over them and make them independent so that they can hold everybody to account and meet all crimes in the state.
Local.
Okay.
All right.
Now, the other thing is that if the courts, are alive to their responsibility, when the state government tries to use the state police against the political government and they go to court, and I'm not talking about all this one, we take 3 weeks to respond to an issue. I'm talking about a situation you have in other countries where
justice,
you can even approach the judge in his house and he will give an order, and that order must be obeyed. So we need to work on our institutions to be able to perform this role. But the argument that, I'm not going to go out because I don't want to die. Because we are going to die one day.
All right, Mr. Curtis.
Yes.
Okay. Any other thing? Because actually, there's a question I want to ask Nuruddin, and I'm going to bring the question back to you too. Because again, when there was the issue of development at the local level, Nuruddin, people have said that, look, the best way to go in restructuring the country is to grant local governments autonomy. Really, get them to get their actual money, grant them autonomy. They should be removed these joint accounts and all of that. Even President Muhammadu Buhari made an attempt, through an executive order to get monies directly to the local government, but the governors fought it to a standstill. Now, what people are saying is that, look, the reason why these governors, some are saying it already, are all, apart from the problem of insecurity and all of that, yes, which we understand is a big problem, that is just the control of power. They want to control the policing structure in their different states, not because of the intention to solve the security problems in their state, but because they know that's bigger power for them if they can control the security structure of their state. And that, look, if you want to know whether the governors are really committed to devolution of power when it comes to policing, talk about also giving local government police and tell them to hands off and also support independence of the local government. You'll see why the governors are not really truthful on this issue of state policing. Now, I decided to look at all of these issues. Like I said, we are looking at the pros and cons, the benefits, the advantages and disadvantages. But we have to choose something on Nuruddin. The fears of the governors misusing their powers on state police and the benefits that we're going to get from it, as highlighted by Mr. Curtis, which one should we really look at and say, okay, look, let's just go with this?
Well, firstly, let me put this one on record. Under the political dispensation, state police cannot come to play.
Under this particular point,
I'm telling you
that it will not happen.
It will not happen.
No matter what happens.
I say it won't happen. Let me say it on record. Under this government, state police would never come to be. I stand to be corrected, but I know it won't.
Or state police the way we want it to be.
What we call state police, where police will have its own.
States will have their own police and all that.
It won't happen. This, look at me very well.
In 2009, like I said, the AC at that time, which incidentally is now in power,
time has changed.
APC.
Time has changed.
What has changed?
Don't forget that this our president now is a proponent of restructuring. You remember?
He was. Yes, that's what I said from the.
Has anybody talk about restructuring under this government? So there are people at different places. So you don't expect them to hammer on some certain things together. Because
things have changed. What have changed? What do you think?
What the thing that has changed is this: some people, if they are not in power, they can promise heaven and earth, but when they get to power and they look at the affluence of what the power brings to them, it's going to be very, and at the same time they are looking for future. They are looking at future, because that is what politicians do. Mainly they are looking at the future.
Political elections?
Yes, now that is what they are looking, and the way they want to bring their own throne. That is how politician does. On this issue of the state police, we want to look at it practically. One fundamental thing is that we need more police officers. We need more police officers, and we need police officers that the command and the chain of command is going to be nearer to the people. That is the basis. So with that is what brought the issue of we have to have state police. Then if you now look at how government is going to be, Oga Fuhad, with the kind of governors we have in Nigeria, Barrister Curtis, if you know how governors are using those states, those agencies in charge of transportation, those agencies in terms of environment, all own agency under one, even the magistrate of court, if you see the way they are weighing on them on some important cases that the governor of that particular state have interest in, they will use the police beyond what you are even thinking of. Forget about the opponent.
That is even bigger than is
bigger than that.
Political.
Look, did you know? Have you ever seen? Okay, in the last election, where some certain towns were not allowing people to vote. What happened to them? Have you ever seen any of all these NURTW in different states killing themselves? Have you ever seen anyone being brought to book? You remember the one that was killed at Oshodi here? Did anything happen? You remember Sakasaola in Yanokwaja? What happened to it? Has anybody been arrested? Look, but that does not mean that we cannot
do the right thing.
Moving forward now, the state police can, with the because I'm looking at it from the angle of the numbers. When we have more when we have state police, that means we are going to have more officers in every state, apart from the one we have localized now. So, and they will be able to. So if you are from Agege and you are a DP of Isokoko police station, and you are from Agege or you reside in Agege, you are not just protecting the resident of Agege, you are protecting your own family
and your own interest
within the Agege. Then another thing again is this: when we have more officers, what it means is that the police will now have ability to do more work and respond. And another thing again is that all the security votes, where some certain governors are collecting 300 million naira every month, some 600 million naira, some 450 million naira every month on security votes.
What do they use them?
What are they using it there for? So why would I have solely, whether they like it or not? At least they'll be paying salaries of us, and they are going to make sure that all what they are going to need, at least to some certain level, they will be able to give them. So if we can have to look at the level of insecurity in Nigeria and what we really need, I think state police is going to do. But I stand to be corrected.
It will not
under
happen,
this political station. Forget it.
It will not happen.
State police will not happen.
Nobody does not believe that it will happen. But let me start by saying, Joseph, do you think this political dispensation will look at your state police and get it done? Because they've always been a proponent of restructuring, devolution of power, and I've even advocated specifically for a state policing structure. Do you think they will do it?
Well, if the governor want to do it, they can do that as did for yesterday. If this our governor, they are sincere from deep down in their heart, they say issue of state police, they can do it like day for yesterday. What do I mean by that?
Also, there is not police. We must amend the constitution. Yes,
there's nothing that the governors of before 2023 election Asaba declared. Sometimes we only deceive ourselves. For go and look at the new police act 2020. If you look at that, let's assume the police even trying to follow maybe 40% of that the new police act.
The police act. Yeah.
You see that some of this issue will not be there. But a situation whereby what will happen is, if we say you give state police, it will be like a situation where you give a goat to someone, you still have the rope within yourself. It's as good as not giving that rope, because to me, if the governor wants state police, why not they just send amendment or tell the House of Rep member
legislators,
and I said, let's look at the constitution, just like what Barrister just said. Let's look at the constitution. Let the governor not be just a nominal police, how do you call it, chief security officer. Go to the constitution and say, tinker with it and say, okay, every commissioner of police in any state report to the governor. The director of DSS report to the governor. The commander of civil defense report to the governor. The marshal of road safety
but don't you think that structurally that's almost impossible? It will be a contradiction in thought and in
we just want to say we should go to the constitution. You understand? And the governor, if it is in their heart, they can do it.
Because if the IG appoints and deploys, and then you don't now report to him, then it becomes a problem.
And if we are serious with issue of security, that we need to look at issue of security and say, okay, we have an issue, let us be honest in solving that very issue. Then the other one is this. I think another thing that has been affecting us is we only play down on the traditional ruler on security issues, and we continue to face the consequence of that act, of that action. See, Fuhad, if we want to resolve issue of security, that security vote, let the governor bring in the traditional ruler. What is wrong in maybe the governor of Lagos State, governor of Ogun State, give the traditional ruler of Mowe or Ilaro, please, I give you 2 months, deliver maybe amnesty to all the bad boys or bad girls in your place. You understand it? After that 2 months, it's okay. Security agency, please, we want to sanitize the entire forest, the city, and the rest. So any person that is apprehended for maybe subscribing to engage in issue of maybe social vices and the person you face is consequent. But do you know that some of these traditional they know more, even more than some
but the same
area commander,
the same traditional that you are saying are now victims of
why they are victim is this. Sometimes they got some money from some in the places. What they just do is for them to now look for, now you're supposed to be traditional ruler originally if the ancestor are not bribed or the kingmaker are not bribed. Now you suppose they will just, okay, new redeem, you have the money, they will get corner.
So you think that again we have tampered with
we tamper with all those things. See, I've been saying it. How do we get it wrong that if we go to UK, if they are appointing a prime minister today, before he can do anything, we go to the king or queen to go and say it. But here we now say it is a governor that will be given a staff of office to a traditional ruler even or a home oba of Benin. We now say it's under local government. So we must find a way to readjust and
make the traditional rulers more relevant.
Very important, because they have a lot of information to assist. That's their domain.
All right, Mr. Kotti, he's talking about involving our traditional institutions and rulers in this whole security.
I don't have objection to anybody who can bring solution to the current problem. But here is the situation: the traditional rulers themselves are appendages of the governor.
Yes.
Do you know the traditional ruler that can go against the governor?
No. Otherwise, you will lose it.
We've seen first class or traditional are removed. Because
you remember what happened in Kano where Ganduje?
Oh yes.
There were attempts to reconcile Ganduje and the former emir. And Ganduje said, look, this guy doesn't even report to me. He reports to the commissioner for chieftaincy affairs. Who can report to me?
So it's not even something so important to him.
Yes, when they need to use the traditional ruler to win election,
they go to them.
they go to them to seek their prayers, and the traditional rulers, the cause of working that their prayers, can make a comment that the local people will take as support for them. But when the same traditional ruler makes a political comment that does not favor them, they are just waiting to get the instrument of office to dethrone them. So the people themselves already know that these traditional rulers do not have regard. Governors, political officers don't have regard for these traditional rulers. It's not like in these days that when these traditional rulers speak, you know that somebody is speaking and people will listen and
caution themselves.
And caution them. I think that they can carve out a specific role or specific roles for traditional rulers, which is to liaise with the security agencies in their domain. There are certain things that can be done. Look, I told you I grew up in a community where the Fulani herdsmen and the local farmers had set up a mechanism for resolving their issues. If some of our young people then go to steal from the Fulani people, they steal their cow, or they rob their cow, or steal their sheep and all that, right? All that the Fulani, the Cherokee Fulani needs to do is to come back to the village and meet the traditional ruler of the place. And there, the families of those who involved will be fined. They will pay for that cow now. Okay?
Yes.
Now, on the other hand, if the Fulani carry their cattle into the farm of a villager and they eat the farm or destroy the farm, okay? The Cherokee Fulani will make the owners of these cattle to pay for the damage done.
Yeah.
And that was how peace was maintained in the community. So there are traditional mechanisms that can be useful. But when we are talking about industrial scale criminality, like banditry,
high-wire criminality,
the traditional rulers can't do much. In fact, some of them have been indicted.
Indicted, yes.
For using some people as a front to commit these crimes. So what we need to do is we need to get the real security agents to do this job. And look, I'm grateful to them. It's not that they are not trying. But when you talk to some of them, you want to hear from them that they are not giving enough million Nigerians. What is the population of the police force that is supposed to secure the country?
Not up to 350,000.
And where are the majority working?
VIPs now.
VIP, government houses.
Yes, now.
You know, look.
Expatriate.
Years ago, I read a book titled The Third Pillar by an Indian professor. And he said that every successful society is built on three pillars. The government, the market, and the community. Because what we found, what they have found in Africa, right, is that in Africa, government is secured, the market is secured, the community is unsecured. And he explained, he said, look, when you go to any country in Africa, you see that all the government institutions and government top officials are well secured with policemen and soldiers. Now, when you go to the market, which is like the corporation,
businesses, yes, the top businesses.
The big businesses, you see Dangote, you see his corporate policemen, you see like Adinoga, you see the bank chief executive and all that. The big guys in the market, they are all protected and secured. But then you go to the community where the majority of the people live, where are the security people that protect them? Look at the state like Lagos. I think Lagos has got 7 area commands. There are areas in Lagos State today that you go that you can't find 3 policemen in the police station.
Not even one.
There are even some police people that you can't find not a single gun in the place. When there is a problem, they have to go to the area, the division, or the head of the division in the area to mobilize force before they can go there. So, even as we are talking about them not providing enough security, we should also ask ourselves whether the government is giving them enough to do their job.
All right. But by Sakoti,
that's a big issue.
Yes. I like it because I want to open the phone lines. The line has been buzzing. We're already getting messages and comments on our Facebook and YouTube platform. But before we open the phone lines to start taking contributions from our listeners, legal complications here. Because you also talked about the fact that, look, these governors can always talk to their House of Reps members, senators to start the process and ensure that when the amendment gets to the state level, they also back this resolution. But again, like I said, even within the party, the ruling party now, a lot of Nigerians had thought that it was going to be one of the agenda, one of the priorities of this government. Do you think that this can eventually happen? This can eventually happen. Nuruddin has said no, it's not going to happen. Are you also of the opinion that look, we're just going to talk about it, we're still going to maintain status quo, still want to do the old thing, nothing will change about decentralizing policing in Nigeria?
It's not going to happen. At first, it's going to be a second-term agenda.
Oh, it's not going to happen.
Look, we are talking of a country where some people are opposed to the movement of some sections of CDN to Lagos from Abuja, right? And fans. You think that those people were... You see, part of the problem that we have is the structure. And have you heard about this lady called Dambisa Moyo? Dambisa Moyo is from Zambia, but is a Harvard-trained economist. She wrote a book titled The Edge of Chaos. And one of the things that we identified as problem with politics all over the world, and especially in Africa, she described it as short-termism.
Short-termism.
Yes, that politicians are constrained by the need to win the next election.
Immediate gains, yeah, not futuristic.
Yeah. So they are not worried about what they deliver to the people. You understand? They are concerned about winning the next election. In other words, that the time that they have been given to them is too short. Now, you know that if you have a 4-year term in Africa, and especially in Nigeria, only 2 of it can need to work. By this time next year, we are already talking about politics of 2021.
We are even talking about it now, right?
Governors to take the basket. So, for those who are saying it's too early in the day, they start talking about it. No! This issue of state policing and some other issues are the most critical agenda that we say to Nigerians. Because out of the block, now that before you go to this place, when you have the highest political capital, that's when you go blasting on your agenda. The first law that President Obama signed when he took over is known as the Lead Really Better Act. What was it about? Because you remember that during the campaign, they had talked so much about equality for men and women in the workplace. Now, this woman was working, I think, in Motors or so, but she was earning lower than the men who were doing the same work with her. So by the time she discovered that she went to court, she said, she couldn't her lawsuit will not succeed because the time that she ought to apply that suit had come and gone. But she didn't know. It was when she discovered that she filed that, and because Obama took that issue so seriously, the first law that was brought before him as soon as the issue was that act which he turned into law. So that's how you carry out your agenda. Now, of course, you know that the president came in with very high approval rating, right? Wherever you go, everybody was just shouting, Chakaban, it's a grizzled old politician and all that. But the removal of subsidy and then the value of the naira kind of thing somehow has eaten deeply into his support base. So he's not likely going to do anything that will create more problems for him. So he's just going to focus with managing what he has now. So I align with you this. We're not going to see state police.
Okay, all right. He doesn't think we're also going to see state police. But
how do you see? If you saw that picture or that news when the governor of Ekiti State with the majority leader of
how to go and to meet the IG
happened in my place, I was thinking that if I lost any of my loved one now, people will be coming to come and visit me.
We have to go and meet the IG in Abuja.
The governor of the whole governor, whether charter plane or helicopter, go and meet IGP, put his hand for back.
No,
he say okay.
Since the thing started,
I don't know.
Yeah. The man has looked helpless. He's looked very, very worried, and it was disturbing to, like you said, see a governor had to run to a senator to meet the IGP and call for help. But that's the situation.
Which governor?
Ekiti State governor. Yes, the Ekiti State governor.
Like helpless, as if.
Look, the man was very troubled, really.
And with the way of thanking after those kids were released, the tone of thanking the Senate leader and most people who in thank, I know some certain things happened.
Okay, what happened we'll know eventually.
Where is Amotekun in all this?
Maybe Amotekun also participated in the release or the rescue.
But they did not participate in when they are being kidnapped.
No. But again, a lot of them were deployed. They said more people were deployed. They had to tell them to comb the forest. But I think, to be fair to Amotekun, they don't even have the kind of weapons these criminals. I think more still needs to be done.
But what? Let's not lose sight of something,
Yes.
You know, these kidnappers they don't send letters
at all.
They make phone calls. And in most cases, they use the phone numbers of their victims.
No, we are shocked that NIN is not tracking anything. It's shocking.
And the telecommunication company is not being called upon to track this number.
That's why a lot of us are shocked.
There are some certain people that are using bank accounts and there is no BVN. Do you remember?
Well, it's not impossible. We're in a country where there are things.
The telco are equally trying to be careful too. Now many of their malls that they have been vandalized by some of these elements.
But
if the call can go through, it can be traced.
Because calls are going through, negotiations are happening, ransoms are being received, and here we are.
You know, there's a news of a student who was just trying to play a prank or with say they want to hijack a plane. I was reading they quickly intercept that and they were monitoring that plane from the beginning to the end. But maybe DSS, they are still warming up, and the rest of them.
The NIN man Pantamia said that the security operators are not using it the way they ought to use it. That's what he said. Well, let's get contributions from our listeners. 091-3620-410. We're also on Facebook and YouTube. You can drop your comments and contributions on the two platforms. I think we'll take our first call for the evening. Hello, good evening. Hello.
Good evening.
Yeah, good evening.
Happy Sunday to us all.
Yes. From Abeokuta. How are you doing? Abeokuta this evening, sir.
I greet everybody, Mr. Joseph and Barrister. Good evening to you. Side, good morning.
Yes. Good evening, sir.
Yes, sir. For me, I think all what we have spoken about this evening, I think boils down to issue of leadership. And then if you ever had dreams of leadership like we see, just like we see in Europe now, this is the time, this is the place, and you are it. I'm trying to probably call the attention of my president now. We need you. I hope you are listening to me, sir. We need the most now. Not targets. We must proceed together as a nation, as one. Just like the thoughts in government that democracy is about the people and by the people, something like that. We need to come together to realize that the insecurity that is facing everybody now is a challenge to every one of us, and we must probably undo the kind of things that has not been making us to be able to achieve for the state police. We need state police. Whether we like it or not, how will it not happen? The question you raised the other time that it will not happen. And I want to ask you, why don't you think that this thing will not happen? We need to put law in place for it to happen. We need to dismantle all those hardship inside the National Assembly, those that are not making it to happen. Even if the executive is not ready to make it happen, even if it is the people we call Kabah that are probably not giving up support. This is the time we need it most now. Why should they be killing others? Why should they be killing innocent lives? Even people are not safe any longer. You can just imagine this. We mentioned Olani Peku said a governor just casual CSO or something like that. And that is how it is.
He said they are casual CSOs in their state. They don't have any power to do anything.
That is emotional casualty, that they are casual CSOs. Yes, I heard you when you read it. I was at that convocation. Are you with me, sir?
I'm with you.
So, if things are supposed to be done the way it's supposed to be done, then let's take the symptoms that doesn't want it to happen. Let's probably ask the government, the president, to proceed and then look for something that will make it to happen. The cries of the people are too much.
Thank you, Mr. Friday. Thank you so much. The cries of the people, a lot. Hello, good evening.
We want it to happen.
Hello, good evening.
Hello.
Yeah, good evening.
Yes, good evening, sir.
Good evening.
Yeah, my name is Samuel. I'm calling from the Dubega.
Yes, good evening, Mr. Samuel.
Yeah, Barrister, good evening, sir. Good evening. Yes, talking about the issue this evening. In fact, Barrister, I really like the way you put it when you talk about the traditional ruler, maybe the way it used to be. And I'm asking a question, Barrister, if anybody can help me. When did we lose the power from remove the children? Because if I could remember, the traditional rulers before they used to collect taxes by themselves, and it was the traditional council that used to pay the traditional ruler. So I don't know when did we went back to this issue of governors deciding what the traditional ruler is getting or this and that. Then on security, you see the problem of this that we are talking about the state police. Take example of what is happening in Lagos State here now. You understand?
I'm with you.
Talk about the level watch and the marksman. Example in Lagos State. I am not against the state police, but the issue is that let's even look at this present government now. The two ministers of defense. I don't know why this president decided to bring somebody like Matawali and the other person to be the minister of defense. And I'm asking questions. How can you have a minister of defense that does not even know anything? Not maybe an ex-security operator, maybe ex-security minister. So what I'm seeing here now, this president is just like somebody that is driving a car with a wrong map. We have no direction, no destination. I am telling you the truth. We are in a serious mess in this country presently as I'm talking to you. It's only God that will help us. Thank you, sir.
All right, thank you, Samuel, for the call. Only God will help us. 09136 0000410. 09136 0000410. Hello, good evening.
Hello.
Yeah, good evening.
Good evening to your crew.
Yeah. Oh, good evening, Mr. Walter. How are you doing?
Fine, for lovely today.
Thank you. How is Sulere this evening?
Congratulations.
After the election, we've been very peaceful. We all know
Did you vote? Did you come out? Did you vote?
No, but
I'm asking you a direct question. Did you vote? Yes.
I didn't vote because I don't want to vote to win.
Okay. So let's have okay, on insecurity.
Yeah.
All right.
So as I said, we should not go back and blame the military a bit on this issue of state policing. Let the ones that wrote the constitution. And I think the fact that it should have been much freely when they were in power to enact the laws as per state policing, because they have been in power to test run it and see how it rolls and make corrections in whatever constitution. I mean, because the constitution projects they are working on or working for the federal government. Because right now, I feel like everyone is in the phone. It's not going to work right now. It's not going to work. What will work right now is so we need to not know that the serve as deterrent to certain crimes right now.
All right.
There's a one kidnapping. What?
I'm with you. I'm listening to you.
Yes. What will relax certain laws right now? Stringent laws. From this kind of act as kidnapping, terrorism. I don't. We didn't have the agreement for us. Nothing like this. Maybe we try to be peaceful country to travel to cycle from Lagos to Kochi. If nobody has actually, nobody can be kidnapping you. You can ask question if it is to me. The direction to have to get to Jos, have to get to Kaduna, all those places. Peacefully.
All right. Thank you so much.
No, I'm not going to take
All right.
The laws of the act right now is that of what the struggle which is called the only state right now that has that law. If you are caught for kidnapping,
Capital punishment.
it is the death sentence.
Okay.
It is the death sentence. That is the only law that can be said. And that death sentence, when we are caught, it should be televised nationwide on all national TV.
Oh my goodness. Oh well.
It's going to say, let me tell you, it's going to say no deterrence to law. It's being hanged at the ground for kidnapping.
All right.
So you can think twice, like God, on this country somehow.
All right. Thank you so much, Walter. Thank you so. He's not the only one that has suggested capital punishment.
Even NBC would not.
All right. Thank you so much, Walter. Thank you so much. I understand. You know, I think we've got to a point where people are just really annoyed about the whole situation. Hello. Good evening. Hello. Hello. Good evening. Hello. All right. Hello. Good evening.
I'm not ready. Ready.
It's wise.
Very good evening to all the meetings.
Yeah, Prince Wise. Where are you calling from this evening?
I'm calling you right away from Amiwood office.
All right, please go on, sir.
Thank you. God bless you. You see, number one, we need state police, but not all the states have enough police. Not all the 26 states of the country. What is most now is Amateku to all states. What we have is state police, yes, but how many of them can pay very good salary to the students? How many of them can give them very fat allowances? How many of them can have a comprehensive referral for the police? But Amateku of you, I just need Amateku around the state. Let them have to kind of that GDP to work in Amateku. You can afford a farmer, you can do part-time job, you give a farmer that allowance and let him work with his own work. He can monitor the outlet, the villages, the forest. I tell you, Mr. President talk about forest guys. So all these people, they know the community, they can even the way you have to today. How many of them will go to local government?
Prince Wise, the problem of funding, equipment and all of that, this problem are still with this central policing structure. So that should not be enough reason why we should not have state police. Don't you think when we have state police, we can now really address the governors and find a way to ensure they fund and equip the state police?
That's very good of you. It is separate a law that establishes state police. It will be taken back to them. People that can ready to demand to pay all this we are talking about. Not that in a state now we talk of 30,000 minimum wage. So if keep going, they can't pay it. The worker that work every day and night. And when you are relaxed with police, that not you are not going to keep up with them. They just sit down somewhere, they won't do the work. But that's what I'm saying. Are you aware that in this country, in almost all the states, governors are going security votes? Are you excuse me? When you talk security votes, you get money for what you need for. So, what is in Nigeria today is corruption. It's happening in the whole country. If Even though not only the politicians, but only the police, every administration today, the welfare is apart. Unless we deal with corruption and we take the water for corruption, things will not go accordingly. So when talk about state police, yes, I said I agree, but not only the state, all the state can't finance the police to buy AK-47. Okay, and then finally, as it is today, we always talk of politicians, time around. Are we the voter? Are we ready to cooperate? Are we ready to do the need be? To working for us, we always condemn them. But when we win and play, can we go, okay, I'm coming. Where killing was really.
Yes.
Every was accusing them. Every is power today. We don't do what they are telling me they are there. It is about the issue now. If the government was doing power now, you know the same thing.
Prince White, thank you so much, Prince White. I think we got his point there. You know, I don't know, but we'll continue to ask our own questions as the fourth estate of the realm. You know, we continue to ask that question. But we have messages already on our Facebook platform. We have Babatunde Shitu. Okay, no, we have Prince Shola Shodeke who is saying, "Good evening, welcome, Barrister Curtis." It's greeting you, Barrister. Okay.
Thank you.
All right, that's Prince Shola Shodeke welcoming you back. And then we have Babatunde Shitu who is saying, "Right on, my happiness man on radio programs." Thank you so much, Babatunde Shitu. We have Basil Chika who is saying, "Earlier, Nigerians understand that this autocracy called democracy we are practicing is not working. Better for them. Just to conduct pockets of elections still, INEC, security agencies could not get it right. So for voter apathy, it was expected because people are tired of that kangaroo. Then on insecurity, where's Obadiah Malaifa who revealed, I think the man is dead now.
Yeah, he's dead.
He's dead now. So who revealed about the banditry abduction and plan behind that. Go and look for the tape and pay. Now you will know the reason why the man is no more. It's still time saves money. They said Chika Bende from Trade Fair. Well, he said a whole lot of things. I think at his son, he was even arrested. He was grilled for his revelations at that time. But again, it is what it is. We have a Dayo that saying, "Good evening, Oga Fuhad and crew. Congratulations to Oga Fuhad, your president has turned. Is our president, whether you like it or not. Unless something happened, we will rule for 4 years. So he's not my president alone. He's our president. You know, so I decided to personalize it. You know." Tony again that will send message that we can't read on radio. Well, thank you for sending the message anyhow. Anyways, we have Abdurafiu Alabalakpe. We say good evening, guys, and welcome to the educative program once again. The by-elections had come and gone, even if they are still leftovers due to some little itches. But let's congratulate those who have won legitimately, like the namesake of our man in the studio, Honorable Fuhad Laguda. We've congratulated him. Huh? Yeah, we did. All right. However, I will disagree with Barrister Curtis Adiba, who was trying to shift all blame to that of the electoral body. Look, until the political class do the right things, we would never have a good and acceptable election. Let's the gladiators.
I don't blame anyone.
He blamed everybody. He talked about politicians, the attitude of the people. He said politicians do the needful. They will record well-run elections across the globe. And again, another solution to the electoral menace is for the National Assembly to make laws that will reduce the jumbo pay of our political. Who is going to bail the cat on that? Beneficiaries of something will not, you know. But then we would also have good elections. Let the salary of a senator, reps, or even a governor or president too be that of primary school teachers. Then we will record good elections. Even nobody will kill just for him to get to power. But if we continue with all this jumbo pay, nothing will change. The electoral process. Even the likes of Fuhad and Barrister Curtis would want to be involved. Who says? Before I chose journalism, I saw politics there.
You have the options.
I had the option then. If you know my background, you know that I could if I wanted. But thank you so much, Mr. Abdurafiu Alabalakpe from Sabo Ijewu, Oniba in Ojo local government. Joseph Shokinson, who is saying on security, the nation was or is bound in freedom, peace, and unity. Insecurity is an ignored ailment disturbing the night rest of Nigerians. Yet the solution can be checked on inclusive governance at state and national level because population has reached carrying capacity and competition of internal resources has increased, plus the unchecked demand for the foreign ones. He lumped two things together. I was really trying to understand what he was trying to say. But thank you so much, Joseph, time for that particular message. We have James Unwachi Ogbona, who is saying, distinguished fathers and honorable men, I greet you ceremoniously. But I've always been of the opinion that the state and local policing is the way to go. I want to support what Barrister Curtis said on the phone. I'm sorry I don't know how to spell his name, okay? Mr. Fuhad, the federal police structure that we have, are governors not using the police against their opponents, especially during ruling party in the state? Should we jettison the benefits that state police will bring to the overall society because of just one reason, that it will be misused? I think the benefit far outweighs whatever disadvantage. The Amotekun Corps in Ondo State is a good example, and I salute the late governor Akrelu for taking the lead. That's from James Ogbona from Oshodi. We have Prince Shola Shodeke, who is saying, on security issue, anything short of AK-47 for the vigilantes, you definitely turn to bandits, kidnapping vigilantes, and small Yahoo boys running to social media to do Wayo crown flooding. Our governors know what to do and can do it now, and they know how to go about it. That's from Prince Shola Shodeke. And then we have Benson, who is saying, good evening, everyone in the studio. Well done. Thank you so much, Benson. Return to taking phone calls. 09136000410. 09136000410. We have a message on YouTube, and this is from Cynthia Ukaga, who is saying, Barrister, always stand with the people. He's saying you always stand with the people. All right, thank you so much, Cynthia. Let's take calls. 09136000410. Hello, good evening. Hello, good evening. Hello, good evening.
Good evening, Mr. Good evening, Barrister, Mr. Norrid, and Mr. Solomon from Bagada.
Solomon from Bagada. Please go on, sir.
Yeah, okay, quick one. Mr. Ford, I think you talked about, that lessons should have been learned from the last election.
Yeah.
And, if you ask me, well, indeed, I think lessons were learned, from all manner of the electoral irregularities, voter apathy, voter intimidation, violence, and to ballot box-based match from the last election. And, during the polls, and, our politicians waited post the poll in the court and took advantage of the loopholes in our electoral system. And I think, again, that is, they learned that in that last election, and they were able to work with it. And I don't think that is far from, although I didn't go out, I didn't even follow the news, but again, from the reports that were given in the studio tonight, that is the same thing that will most likely happen. So they learned their lesson and they're working with it. I will just quickly speak on the whole security, in addition to what has been said. I don't think our governors are completely handicapped. If you ask me, take for instance, there used to be a time when in this state, the RRS squad was very active. What happened to the RRS squad? I think in Ogun State there was QRX.
What has happened to police formations doing different things,
What has happened to all of those units of this police state command? I think we just have to be intentional about tackling all of these insecurity issues. And if, just like it has been said in the studio tonight, if our governors want to do the right, they know the right to be done. And they will do it if they want to. I do this is my few submissions.
All right, thank you so much, Solomon from Bagada. 09136000410. I think we can still squeeze in one or two calls, and then we'll call it a day on the show. Hello, good evening.
Hello, good evening, sir.
Good evening, sir.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
My battery is low. That's what?
Your name, sir?
My name is Salah, Malam Salah.
Sorry, Malam Salah. You don't like this idea of militias at different or state arrangement. You've always said you don't like it.
No, I know. Okay, now let I give you one example, sir.
Okay. Yes.
Yesterday there was this by-election or whatever. In Enugu, one of the reasons that was the Labour Party was choosing the time or whatever, that they used local government vigilante to lead that election. You understand?
I'm with you.
So you can see. So this is even the governors that are saying, okay, well, that's what somebody that cannot pay 10,000 million, can you maintain for this? Can you maintain for this? He cannot maintain for this. The idea is that they want to arm their men, because if it's the government by APC or PDP now, all the vigilante whatever will be on party line.
I've always wanted to ask you this question. So what should we do now?
The issue is this: let them improve the standard of living of people. Okay, as I'm talking to you now, the rice is 1,100 per liter of rice. So people are hungry. So if people are not hungry, they will not think of, okay, people every time people make defense of the First Republic. Because that time there was no hunger. You understand? So bad governance will cause all this nonsense. I'm telling you all that for a fact. With the advent of good governance, we will never go out of insecurity. You understand?
Now with you.
Instead of my state, other state, one of the poorest states, instead of one of the poorest states, instead of civil service, how much is their own working allocation when they depend on? They will steal from inside, they will place no salary inside. Some of them are even paying salary now, and they are getting from separate. It's something that is impossible. I'm not saying president, finally, not saying president will ever agree for separate.
So you think he will do it?
He will never. Let me use one example for you quickly.
All right.
Let me use one example. Do you remember just during Rotimi the guy that gave that commissioner of police that gave Rotimi Wahala?
Yes, that was a weak man at that time.
If president allows the police, it means that his power is being handicapped. Some of his power is reduced. So if the federal police that they use, if they want to do rubbish in the state now, they will give directive to IG. They defend the person that will do the job for us. Hello, sir.
All right, I'm with you, Malam. I think I got your point here perfectly.
So it will not happen. It will not happen. Even the president that advocated for state police before, because they are never now,
you know the sweetness of the power. All right, we'll take this message, the message on Facebook, and then there's something he said I want us to, conclude the show with this evening. He talked about, that's Malam Salau now, that look, no matter what we do, whether state police, whether local police recruit 1 million people, if we don't solve the problem of poverty, we can never tackle the issue of insecurity. But before I allow Barrister Curtis Nuruddin and Joseph to speak to that, so talk on that particular one, as a way of saying goodbye on the show, we have a message from the world. We're saying the truth is that state policing is the way to go, but political bias and corruption, coupled with sponsorship of these bandit terrorists, that is one word, by highly paid, and they are sponsored, and that is the way to go. But Barrister Curtis, one very important thing Malam Salau said about tackling poverty, that look, if we tackle poverty, we are not going to have this widespread insecurity across the country. That look, state police, whatever, it's going to be a problem if we still don't address the issue of poverty. And I want you to use that as a parting shot this evening.
I agree that there is a link between poverty and crime, but we must also understand that not all people are criminals. And you must also understand that all the people involved in banditry and kidnapping are not poor people. They are just outlaws. Majority of them are just outlaws.
And anarchists.
The anarchists who are too cheap way, of spreading misery and making money from it. So long as government cannot call them to order. Do you understand what I'm saying?
I'm with you completely.
Yes, so I agree. Yes, there's no way in the world you don't have poor people. In the United States, the Department of Agriculture are feeding 13 million children a day. Who have no food to eat.
That's real feeding. They will feed them. No, and the money will you know to use it we are feeding. We know it we are feeding.
You understand? I think that we are dealing with so many problems at the same time. This is my parting shot now. But we can break down these problems and pick out the priorities. Last week I was saying that this government should bunker down more and deal with the problems rather than responding to people who are criticizing them or those who are not in support. Do you understand?
I'm with you.
Look, whether we support or we don't support, the fact is that we are the one holding these positions. And you are the one with the responsibility to improve our lives.
And solve the problem.
So just do your job. Just do your job. And then I also want to ask all Nigerians to please support the government in whichever way you can. It's our government. We are the ones now responsible for whether we will succeed or fail. So support them and pray for them.
All right, thank you so much, Barrister Curtis Adigba. Your contribution is always appreciated on the show. God bless you, sir. Nuruddin,
Thank you.
solving poverty problems, a way of also solving insecurity problems in the country.
Well, I will enlarge it beyond good governance.
Good governance.
When you have good governance, at least one way or the other is going to be reduced. As I'm talking to you now, federal government workers have not been paid last month's salary. I met with some certain police officers on Thursday. They said they are still La Liga, that they are salary, a police officer that is carrying gun, and the salary of last month has not been paid.
And the wage award too has not come.
Yeah, and that one, they said they don't even want wage, at least pay the salary. The main one. And so if it's not well paid, how did you want that person to be productive? And that is the thing. If we increase the level, how good governance can reach the people. Yeah. I'm telling you, no matter the case may be, there is no place where crime is not being committed. But the level is going to be different.
Not as bad as this, yeah.
When I have something to eat, when I have something to feed my family, even if I am long throat, it's going to be reduced compared to when I don't have.
The tendency towards crime will be reduced. Thank you so much, Nuruddin Adigbero, for that submission. You're always valued on the show. Joseph Olonsho, your party shows 30 seconds. My producer is already waving the red flag.
Let's see how we can make our farms safe, because we are afraid of if we have
food insecurity, food crisis
in Nigeria. Currently, someone will meet you on the road and say, please, even though anything,
don't give me money.
Don't buy this thing for me.
Even if just a Congo of rice.
Yes. So food insecurity is, in fact, government should see what it can do.
I think the government has always talked about kinetic and non-kinetic means, and I just want to add my voice to that of Malam Salau. Let's tackle poverty. Insecurity will be greatly reduced in Nigeria. Well, this is the size of the packet. Political Roundtable, Mainland 98.3 FM. My name is Saheed Fuhad. Let's do this again next week.
Paying attention to the hustle and bustle of Lagos. Take a chill pill.
Calm down. Holiday to Mozambique.